Yeah, and this is may as well crack open an 11 a.m. beer. This is gonna be great
You wouldn't
fun.
be the only one.
Oh,
Except it's not 11 a.m. for me. So we're all good.
Slightly more realistic.
Yeah.
Well, hey, we're into Group C today, finishing up these
are.
groups. MarineLorD dropping that NG Bay block at the natural.
Yeah.
Cheeky little bugger there. But Grant, this ought to be a great match. You know, yesterday, our European matches seemed like they were pretty dang good, man. A lot of really tight, close matches. Very similar ability players, right? Where we had a lot of like games going to game 3 and stuff. And then we swapped into Latin America, and the last 3 matches were a little more one-sided, a little bit of an imbalance between the skill levels of the players. But today, back on EU and MarineLorD Krystianer, Grant, I have no idea who's going to win this. 2-0, 2-1, either way. I could see this going anyway.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you there. Now, MarineLorD very much did impress me in DreamHack Fall. He was convincing in a lot of his group games specifically, and even in the bracket, I think he managed to get like a top 6 finish. Don't quote me on that. But Krystianer is like the king of online tournaments. Like every day I see a different tweet like managed to win or managed to barely win, got lucky. And it's like at some point you ain't getting lucky. You're just playing very good StarCraft. Now, one thing I will say is MarineLorD kind of breaks the mold of European Terrans just a little bit. He's much more aggressive, I'd say. And we can already see, I think he's shaping up some aggression and a Hellion drop that will be coming in here. He's had an SCV on patrol since the day I was born. There we go. And that starport is going down. We should be seeing, let's take a look at his tech here. Yeah, Reactor Hellion's coming out. So this is going to be a 4 Hellion drop, maybe followed up by a Liberator or something like that. But the first unit out of that starport will be the medevac, so it can get those units dropped in. Now, Krystianer has gone for a quick robo. He's getting stalkers, which is an important thing to start off with. He's not really cut any corners. The very early robo is
Krystianer, I think maybe overconfidence, a little bit of hubris, thinking that he could hold that. He's like, you know what, I know what's coming. I've got my stalkers in the main, but 2 stalkers in Adept is not quite enough to ward that off completely. So while the Hellions did get scouted, they were able to get into the main, and Krystianer was forced to use probes to try to zone them out, and just, I think, overestimated his ability to hold that attack, and his stalkers were not focus firing on that medevac, meaning the medevac was able to pick up those Hellions, as we saw, and drop back into the natural to get the 1-2 double whammy punch on those probe lines. And now the SCV count relatively even, and he's got to hope that this Colossus drop does a lot of damage, Grant.
Yeah, this is Krystianer to a T. He's doing something a little bit funky. Usually if you see early drop play, it's going to be Adepts or Charge Zealots, or, you know, sometimes Disruptor. Colossus drop, I feel like, is something Krystianer does like to do. It is in his wheelhouse. And MarineLorD, I think, is a pretty prep-heavy player. You can see he's already got a Cyclone patrolling because he did see the Robo. How much did he see the Robotics Bay? He must have, right? Yeah, he saw everything. So he knows he's playing against Robotics Bay drops. He probably doesn't know if it is Colossus or Disruptor. He probably assumes it is Disruptor, as that is more common. But a great start to the defense here for Krystianer. As long as he doesn't make any mistakes, he keeps units moving between the main and the naturals. We do have
natural really doing a lot of damage. And Krystianer, again, I think, and I can't promise to be inside the player's head, but I know Krystianer generally a very confident player. He may be just overestimating his abilities a little bit and underestimating MarineLorD, who is one of those players who's a little more spiky. So we see him taking too much damage on his Colossus, taking too much damage from those probe run buys, and he's still playing a good game. He's still in the game for sure, but MarineLorD playing a lot stronger right now.
Yeah,
more strongly. Sorry.
Just little things like that initial pressure. He split the Stalker fire. You go for the medevac or you go for the Hellions, you know. But he went, you know, a little bit 50-50, a little bit soft on his play there, and it's okay. He hasn't taken game-ending damage, as we said. Krystianer is up in workers in terms of economy, very even. You can see both mining similar amounts. Krystianer mining a little bit less gas, but he'll be fixing that by taking gas geysers on his second gas geyser on his natural. I imagine soon. He is going for a very gateway heavy style, sitting on 5 gates going up to 7 with charge, with immortals, just sort of the Protoss Bio style. He didn't make any more Disruptor or Colossus, any more Robotics Bay based units. And we have a huge push right now coming from MarineLorD that has been scouted by Krystianer. But does he have enough to defend? He hasn't got any batteries at this third. There's like nothing here.
Yeah, this is a really concerning push right now from MarineLorD. Krystianer invested a lot into that robotics bay for the drop, and right now there's only one unit to show for it. Already 2 Vikings is the right number of Vikings, right? Not too many. Not an overcommitment. They're going to draw some Stalker fire, but the Warp Prism going to go down almost immediately, which means no micro for this Colossus at all, Grant. As soon as the Colossus goes down, this push all but over. A couple of gateway units from this last round of Warp-ins, not going to be enough, I don't think, and even if this drop gets cleaned up, Krystianer's barely held on.
Yeah, I mean, the tank's still standing strong. They're now splitting the fire a little bit, but they're offering so much. The super battery comes out here, but even that is just not enough heals per second to deal with the amount of DPS. The tanks, a couple of them maybe a little bit out of range here. The Bio just going to provide that extra vision that they need. Super battery has now run out. The battery will be targeted, and we are seeing reinforcements streaming across the map here by MarineLorD. And it looks like the young Frenchman will be able to pick up the first map of this series, barring any massive disasters on his part.
Even those tanks going down is probably an acceptable loss at this point. The Bio army just so strong. Like we said, those 7 gateways finishing up, the 7th gateway finishing up just a little bit too late. So before this attack hit, Krystianer was only able to get about 1 or 2 rounds of warp-ins before this attack hit. So really, he invested too much in infrastructure, was just a little bit too late. Krystianer, from the get-go, since those first probes went down to the initial Hellion run by, just playing off the back foot, and it's very difficult to do that, especially in PvT when you're up against a Bio force. The Bio army just has such a strong peak and trough of power that really it's hard to catch a wave really and find a spot where the Bio army is just too weak. Again, even if Krystianer cleans this up, which he may not even be able to do, it's going to be a rough battle.
Yeah, and he sacrificed so many of his workers to kill 1 tank a few moments ago. It just wasn't worth it. In total, he has lost 29 workers in this game. Now sitting at measly 41. Yeah. And I mean,
this is level 1 of micro battle on the arcade right now for MarineLorD, where you get 60 Marines for
Theron player. But for now, our players, let me just get these scores right. Here we go. In the top right, representing a personal sponsorship from Coca. I can't say it like Creighton can. He is the red Theron player from France. It's MarineLorD.
I'll be honest, Grant. I spent most of the time between getting hired for DreamHack and the first day of DreamHack just practicing the words. Coca Authentica Pepite, and then once you get it a couple times, it really, that's all it was. That's all it was. And the Frenchman's opponent in the bottom left-hand side, representing Poland, it is Blazer Esports, Krystianer.
Okay, so we do have an eBay block once again here from MarineLorD. Seems to be
interesting,
part of his bag of tricks, and I don't hate it. It is very frustrating, especially because this is being scouted very, very late here, meaning it's already got a lot of health. Last time it was scouted a little bit earlier, and Krystianer pulled 4 probes to deal with it quite quickly. He can't do that this time. There's too much hit points already.
But against Medivacs, I'm sure I'll be fine. And then pull some probes to deal with it. It's not going to be quite 10, I don't think, unless these probes really line up for it. The Immortal will go, or the Hellion will go down to these Adepts.
It is going to be 10.
God, the other Hellion in the main base, not picked off by that Phoenix liftoff. This is just, again, terrible from Krystianer, not prepping for this adequately. Going Stargate and Phoenix is the right call, but you've got to have those Adepts ready to go. You've got to be paying a little bit more attention and trying to scout out on the map. MarineLorD, again, puts himself in a commanding position here with the exact same build order. And I got to say, Grant, very disappointing to see from Krystianer, who I know is a better player than this. But I'm not going to say lose 2 games in a row quite yet, because, of course, it's wide open, and going Phoenix gives you lots of opportunities to come back. But to see Krystianer going into such a deep hole so early in these games twice in a row to the same strategy, a little disappointing.
I mean, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me other way around.
That a boy.
He fooled him twice, is my point here. You should never fall for the same thing.
Give you honorary citizenship for getting a Major League Baseball reference correct, and then you immediately quote President George W. Bush.
And get
Excellent work, Grant.
Yeah,
You're a proper American now.
I'm fully feeling it. Is it Thanksgiving's coming up, right? That's soon. It's usually around my
November.
Yeah, that's coming up. So, see, I'm American. Only 3 worker kills by the Phoenix Oracle hit squad. At this point, it's just not enough here. Now, MarineLorD is mining more, of course, because he has mules plus the extra workers. Currently mining about 25% more efficiently than that of his opponent. And he's getting everything he needs. Stim is on the way. Combat shield's on the way. Only 1 eBay. We're going to be just sitting at single upgrades for now. But, I mean, one behind, right? Dark Shrine has gone down for Krystianer. He knows he needs to make something happen. He needs to find some damage.
You know, now that we're about the 6-minute mark, I gotta say, I like what both players are doing now to respond to this. And the problem is, if I like what both players are doing, that means the player who has a slight lead probably still gonna maintain that slight lead. So MarineLorD looking for a +1 timing push, which is a very smart play. He has not gone out to scout if Krystianer has a third base yet. And last game, Krystianer went for a third base in this same situation to try and macro his way out of the situation. This game, though, Krystianer trying something different with the Dark Templar warp-ins, the Dark Templar run-bys, but plenty of scans should be available for MarineLorD if he's saving up. And with the Warp Prism to support the push, Krystianer's going to look to be a little bit more aggressive as well. The problem is that MarineLorD not investing in a third, not investing in a second engineering bay, is just going to go for a strong +1 timing. You can see he's even getting that concussive shells to make sure his Marauders are a little bit beefier. This is looking real bad for Krystianer Grant. I'm just seeing fewer and fewer ways out.
Yeah, one thing I will say is there are no missile turrets, and the scan energy actually quite low. There's only going to be, because there's only 2 CCs, there's only ever going to be a couple of scans. If there is a mule dropped in the next couple of moments from these CCs, then these DTs will have a lot of potential here. But I think most likely MarineLorD is relatively aware of what he could die to. I'm going to try and keep track here on the SCVs. Is the Prism going to go down? It did, didn't
yeah,
it?
He snipes the Warp Prism. This game is over. I mean,
Yeah,
Krystianer was hoping to get something done here. 2 DTs do warp in, but check those CCs again for me if you don't mind. I think MarineLorD's probably smart enough to know that the only way he could lose right now is DTs, and already missile turrets coming down. And with the big push at the front of Krystianer's base, he's going to wait until those DTs get detected, and then he's going to realize immediately, all right, well, you got me. You covered all your bases, and MarineLorD looks to move himself up to a very quick 2-0 victory here, Grant. DTs in the natural there, but the scan goes down, and the scan at the front should be available as well. Both DTs getting taken down. Great play from MarineLorD.
Yeah, MarineLorD completely on top of it. He was certainly aware of what could have killed him. He kept scan energy. He had 50 energy for ages, and he didn't drop mules. And that's not a micro or a macro mistake. That was simply...
There's a landed Viking in the main, Grant.
Oh, wow. Well, there we go.